Hi, everyone, and welcome to Talent Garden event celebrating the 51st Earth Day. And this is a very important day for us because it's the second consecutive year that we're holding this event. To those who don't know, Talent Garden has been in the last 10 years the center and the community of the European innovators and entrepreneurs. For the last 10 years, we've opened 18 different co-working campuses across 8 cities in Europe, in which we don't only just give a space, but we also create a community. And part of our community is also made out of the students that go into our innovation school and learn everything that is about innovation and needs to be about innovation, but also different projects that we run through our corporate transformation team, working with different corporates across Europe in order to be able to create their journey of innovation and transformation together. I'm very happy to be here today talking about a topic which is not only close to my heart, but close to a lot of people in our days, and we're talking about really the world of sustainability. It is Earth Day, so it's not surprising, but one of the things that we want to tackle in this event is really the role of corporates in this changing world of sustainability. What are corporates doing today? What are the best practices that we're seeing from leaders in the industry? But also, what do corporates have to do tomorrow in order to be able to continue this stride we have for creating a better planet and a better lives for all of us? I'm extremely happy to have with us today exceptional speakers from leading companies across the world, so really global multinational companies that will be joining us for an event that will be divided into 2 separate moments. So the first moment we will pose a question to each one of our speakers, and we encourage you, our viewers, to ask any questions you might have using the chats that you're seeing on social media. These questions will then be confronted, and we will talk about them in the second part of this event, which will include a roundtable discussion with all the participants together. So in order to start this event, I want to call to the stage our speakers, and I'm happy to present them. Matteo Frattino from Electrolux, Michele Laterza from Muti, Veronica Rossi from Lavazza, Jacobo Romagnoli from VAR Group, Emanuele Preve from Riso Gallo, and Aldo Pozzoli from Accenture. So first of all, thank you all very much for being with us today. I'm very excited to hear, to confront, and also to maybe ask a few hard questions to you as how you see what's happening today, but more importantly, how you as a company or how you as a corporate or leader in your market is actually tackling these different challenges that we're seeing globally today. And in order to kickstart this first part of our event, I'm actually going to ask Aldo from Accenture to give us a first taste of what we're going to talk about. So you obviously have a very wide view onto what's happening today when we talk about corporates and sustainability. And I would like to ask you to give us kind of a short overview of what we're seeing and kind of like where is everything going when we talk about this issue.
Yes. Thank you, Noah. Thank you all. And thank you for inviting me here. As we can see a lot of movement in the market, because out there's a lot of things moving. But I just want to spend a couple of seconds just to rebuild, reconstruct from where we started. If I think about like 15 years ago, it's easy because we were in a situation where we had sustainability basically as a HEC, so very technical, health, safety, environment aspect, so the very hardcore part of environmental management, together with the very important corporate social responsibility, which is the ability of a company to be also a citizen, a corporate citizen, and be impactful on the overall community. From that perspective, things started evolving, because if you think like 6, 7, 10 years ago, the word innovation started to be associated with the concept of sustainability. And that actually helped making happen the transformation, because now we can see that this evolution from innovation to concrete sustainability in business now is taking the real momentum. And it's taking the real momentum being a real industrial transformation aspect. And we can see this in many markets, but there's a common path. Because a common path, as customers, we hear a lot that they are really careful about what they buy, what they select, the sustainability features, and so on and so forth. But we can see also another event happening, that the company are actually moving and investing. So now there is a double pressure, both the competitors together with the consumers. And that's not enough, because also the supply chain are starting moving, being part of this journey. Because all the large multinational companies are, yes, companies with their customers, but they are also at the core of very ample, broad supply chain. And the participants, means the supplier, the partners of their supply chain, are evolving as well. So we should not leave behind all those supply chain. We should be able to co-innovate, to innovate together and bring this innovation at a higher, more impactful level. What's next is what's next is to make sustainability objective, to make it measurable, which is starting from the very important thing of sustainability reporting, which is crucial for disclosure, for transparency, many things happening on this. But the real step forward is to embed sustainability in managerial processes, making it objective. Now, in business, decisions are taken based on facts, on economic facts, on the return of investment, on the business case, on many really objective variables, economic variables. What we need is to bring sustainability at that level, means embed together sustainability as a variable to take in managerial decision, and bring it not only at the table of the sustainability manager, sustainability director, innovation director, crucial, but also COO, chief operating officer, the CFO, the chief procurement officer. We are seeing that this movement is taking momentum. The real innovators, the company at the forefront, are doing this. What we expect is that this momentum will expand and extend to the rest of the overall industries and companies. Last but not least, to make sustainability business as usual is crucial, because all the investors, all the key institutional investors, ask for clarity about the practices the companies are taking in this field. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aldo. I think one of the things that we're seeing, and it's something I'm sure that we've seen for many, many years, I know from my experience, is this need to measure exactly how do we see all of these kind of, let's say, actions that we take as a company. And it's I think one of the biggest challenges that we're yet to solve today. But we'll get back to that, let's say, in the next session. And I want to pass the ball to our next speaker, so to Matteo Fratino from Electrolux, and ask him, we talk a lot about, the end users and the customers, but a lot of the times when we try to think about food waste and when we try to think about sustainability as a whole, we don't often think about home appliances. However, Electrolux does look at this kind of world. How do you guys see what's happening, and what is your responsibility in this world of sustainability?
Hi, first of all, I'm very happy to be here on behalf of Electrolux. Real honor and excited. So also connecting to what Alo was saying, we have started many years ago the Better Living Program, which is a series of commitments until 2030 on 4 pillars. No, the pillars. One of the pillar, as you're mentioning, is the better eating. So we really want to inspire people to eat, source, and care for food in a way that is careful for the planet and not only for the people. But and we have won awards. We have won corporate awards, but all, let's say, the Better Living Program, I think we needed to translate all the actions in a consumer benefit-led way. And as you mentioned, this is what we are doing at the moment. For example, the real challenge is how do we translate sustainability, which is a very difficult and multifaceted concept, to a simple concept. And for example, in cooking, where our commitment is make sustainable cooking and eating habits a critical factor, we are pushing more and more cooking with steam. And cooking with steam is linked inherently to healthy food, but not only. It can prevent also food waste in a very impactful manner. For example, we have this function which is called steam regeneration that can regenerate food leftovers from the day before and can make them as tasty as the first day. So that's the first step. Another step is to, as I call it, be exponential, have the right partners. And for example, we are partnering with Side Chef and Le Cordon Bleu worldwide, and we are guiding through our ovens and through an app, for example, plant-based meals. So we are educating the consumer about the fact that plant-based meal is not a private food, but it can be exciting and there can be enjoyment, and at the same time you can do good to the environment and to the planet. And those are, for example, only 2 examples as far as food is concerned. And then, of course, we have also an education not only in food, but also in clothing care. Essentially, when you think about clothing care, you think about a circular economy, the recyclability of the appliance. But the great insight is that only 13% of the environmental impact comes from the appliance. The other 87% comes from the use of the appliance. So there's a whole chapter about educating to the right cycle level, for example, to wash at lower temperature to save energy, or to simply use, again, steam function in clothing care instead of washing, to save a whole amount of energy. So I think cooking and clothing care are 2 great pillars for Electrolux to really push sustainability in a very straightforward way to the end consumer. And I think that's a challenge for the next 10 years ahead, and maybe even after,
No, it's very interesting. And I think that the one thing that sometimes we miss, which I think possibly this year of crisis is kind of like put into the spotlight, that taking care of the planet's health is also taking care of our own health, our personal health. And I think when it comes to food, when it comes to cooking, but when it also comes to taking care of our garments and our water, it's something that is crucial in order to be able to push this health forward. And I think it's a very interesting point to kind of like think about. So thank you very much, Matteo. We'll come back to that. I think one thing that I'm seeing coming along with everyone is this need for partnership, and I'm sure we'll talk about this a little bit later. I'm very happy to ask the next question to Veronica Rossi from Lavazza, simply because we're talking a lot about now, this is the 51st Earth Day. We've heard President Biden come now with these goals for 2030, and of course SDGs are something that have been part of our lives for a while. Lavazza has had SDG policies for a very long time, so it's not something which is new. Can you tell us a little bit about how this is kind of like becoming the policy, how this became the policy for Lavazza, and how this is guiding you with the work that you do?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Noah. Thank you very much. Well, the SDGs is really a framework that I think every every corporation should take into account to either guide our own sustainability strategies and also measure our advancement. My colleagues at the beginning were talking about measurement. Sustainability reports, for example, are absolutely the way forward. And actually, we last year decided to integrate our progress in the SDGs into our sustainability reports. So we measure both the Global Reporting Initiative standards, which are, the best and recognized standards all over the world, but also how we are advancing on the SDGs. And we started looking at the SDGs precisely in 2015 when they were launched. And it was interesting because we came to know about the SDGs because Professor Jeffrey Sachs, who was an advisor to Ban Ki-moon in the drafting of the SDGs, was part of the Global Coffee Day at Expo Milan that year. And actually, we were talking with him, and actually, the SDGs were just launched, and he told us, you should join us, you should join the movement. And so by chance, in some ways, we decided, oh, okay, let's go. And so we started in 2015 to look at the SDGs, and we did a very analytical work, I need to say, because we spent quite 1 year to look at the 169 targets of the SDGs and try to match those targets with the Lavazza group activities, trying to understand what were our impacts, both negative and positive, where we should go, and strengthen our efforts, and where we should change our way to be and to work. And that exercise helped us very much in defining our 4 priorities that today are Goal 5 on gender equality, Goal 8 on decent work and economic growth, Goal 12 on responsible production and consumption, and Goal 13 on climate action. But one thing that I wanted to say, Noah, which is really, really important in my opinion, and I really urge everybody's listening today to take into account this, is the importance of raising awareness within the company. I really want to highlight this. The first year that we decided to look at the SDGs, we did this analysis, and then we decided to develop what we call Lavazza Goal Zero, because we said we need to start from zero, because our people in the company need to know what the SDGs are, because everybody in its own role in the company needs to help the company to achieve the goals. So we started a very robust and strong internal communication campaign and internal engagement of people to really ask them to come on board, tell us how they thought the company should act on the SDGs, tell us what were their experience in their own private life in dealing with sustainability. We had campaigns with colleagues telling us, I like Goal 5 because I am working with these NGOs outside the company. I think we should integrate this goal. And so we did a lot of surveys to understand what should be our priorities. And after this engagement in 2019, so after 4 years, we defined our priorities because we really wanted to engage everybody. And it's really interesting now because everybody, or at least I hope everybody in the company, is aware of the SDGs, is aware of the agenda. We have, for example, a course, an obligatory course for all people in Lavazza globally about Agenda 2030. So people need to do this course, and it's really crucial because it's not something for me. I'm sustainability manager. It's not something for the CEO. It's something for everybody. Everybody should embed Otherwise, it's just something we do because we are a CSR manager and we are paid for it. But to change things within the company and then in the supply chain, towards customers and towards the general public, we need our colleagues to be part of the journey. So this is really what I think it's important. Strategy is important, projects are important, progress are important, but internal awareness is the basis.
Thank you, Veronica. I have to say that I think this is very, very important, and I appreciate and I thank you for saying this, because it's, in a way, this is a transformation process that companies are going through, and we know that without the onboarding of all of the company, nothing can happen at the end of the day. Now, there's let's say a better good that we're trying to achieve, and we really need to have everybody together with us in order to be able to create this change. But not only to be able to create this change, but also to actually advance the different steps that we want in this process. So thank you very much, Veronica. I'm going to come back to you afterwards because I already have a question that I would like to ask you. But I would like to now pass the next question to Michele Laterza from Muti. Hi, Michele. One thing that we've said we've spoken about this, and it's one thing that we know, is that the Muti product is always a very natural product, and it's grown in a way, and this is one of the things that you strive to continue to have. But in the cultivation processes that we're seeing, there's always a need to kind of innovate and everything that we're doing, and the innovation has to be linked together with sustainability. Can you tell us a little bit about what Muti is doing in this sense and in these steps moving forward?
Yes, for sure. Good evening, everyone, and thanks, Noah, for inviting me here. I'm happy to tell you how at Muti we are addressing the sustainability topic. I certainly start by saying that it is a constantly evolving path, a constant search for the best solution. We are proud of the results achieved, but we do not feel, and I think we will never feel we have arrived. Sustainability for us is a continuous challenge. For this reason, I am happy to have the opportunity to listen to the speech of the other participant, which I thank for the valuable insight offered, in particular from Lavazza, that is a business very close to Muti. I promise it's a must in our case. For us, the sustainability is focused on the environmental aspects. We have this in our DNA. It is certainly not a recent discovery, but or a trend. For us, respect of the territory is a matter of business continuity, so much that we have listed environmental sustainability in our MBO, because it is from the land that we get our raw material, tomatoes. And since in our products there is only tomato and a pinch of salt, it is easy to understand that the quality for which we are known and chosen by our consumers would not be possible if we did not take care of the area where we operate. Having said that, I quickly explain that what we do. We do first transformation. We are talking about 600,000 tons of fresh tomatoes a year, from which almost 300,000 tons of finished product are derived. We therefore extend the life of a perishable product such as tomatoes and make it available throughout the year all over the world through a heating process. So with our business, we affect the environmental mainly in two aspects: the water footprint as regards our agriculture supply chain, and the carbon footprint as regards our transformation process in our factories. Therefore, these are two priorities from an environmental point of view, in line with the pillars of the European Farm to Fork strategy. About the water print, we identified and developed smart farming tools, collected data, and provided technical assistance to our farmers. Specifically, in particular, we use this data in order to give them some suggestion for the right cultivation and also for the consumption for irrigation. And in terms of water contamination due to fertilizer to feed the plants and pesticide used for their protection from insects in particular. In collaboration with the WWF Italy, we have developed a technical assistance system to improve drop irrigation and developed a decision support system together with the Horta, that is a spin-off of the Catholic University of Piacenza, to help farmers in managing the entire tomato cultivation. On the second point, the carbon footprint, we aim at a constant increase in efficiency, less energy for every single kilogram. We have therefore made investment in technology and solar panels that allowed us to reduce woody carbon footprint by 27% from 2009 and 2015. In the most recently acquired plants, Oliveto Citra in the south of Italy and Collecchio close to Parma, we registered a reduction in unitary energy consumption by an average of 5% in 2017-2020 period, thanks to the inclusion of this technology. Furthermore, at the beginning of this year, we installed a cogeneration system in our headquarters that can convert residual heating into energy, helping us to reduce the impact of our process. So the real challenge that we face today as a company is to obtain better and better results in these aspects, no? Introducing projects not only to mitigate the effects of our business on the environment, but also to be proactive and not only about the environmental point of view, that is the first priority and will be the first priority for us, but also on social and economic point of view, the other aspect of the sustainability. So this is our way to integrate our commitment to a better future.
Excellent, thank you, Michele. I think that you guys are spot on for the goals that Biden has put for 2030 about the carbon footprint. So I think it's very foreseen the future of what we're going, and it's very interesting to see how really we as corporates can contribute very quickly, in a way, to this goal that we're presenting to the countries that are part of the climate summit that we're seeing happening today. But I'll get back to you also on the question of social responsibility when we talk in the round table. I'd like to now pass my question to Emanuele Preve from Risogallo. Emanuele, thank you so much for being with us. One of the topics that we discussed in previous conversations that we had is the whole world of packaging. Because when we talk about sustainability, a lot of the time we think about a sustainable package, which is kind of like a goal that we need to achieve. How do you see this? How has this changed things for you? And do you really think that, you know, this kind of packaging is similar when we talk about global companies, so multinational companies that have to send packages to different countries? Do they have the same standards? And I would like to also take the opportunity to also ask you, because I know you have a personal interest, but also a company interest, in how we're seeing circular economy actually kind of changing a little bit the world of sustainability, and how corporates can actually be a part of this circular economy that we're all talking about recently.
Thanks, Noah, for the question, and thanks to invite me. Well, the packaging is quite important for us because we produce rice that is mainly known as a sustainable product. It came from the land. There is not too much contamination, even if we are making with some farmer to be sure that they have agricultural sustainability, so they follow protocol to have this kind of rice. On the other side, the packaging is quite important for us because is fundamental to preserve the product for 3 years, like is our due date, and to keep it maintained that is healthy for the people that to the customer that buy our product. We work on that in 2 ways. On one side, we have the package outside that is made with the paper. So we try to reduce the dimension of the packaging because there was probably some space more that was necessary. So this is one way, and we use paper that came from FSC protocol. So is also this kind of paper is follow sustainable farmer. So this is quite important. On the other side, the plastic is quite important for us because until now there was a problem with the plastic because the plastic has a different layer that make a barrier to the air to go inside the product. So we have a vacuum package. And until now, we didn't have a plastic that was recyclable. So we work a lot on this, and now we have recyclable plastic. We are one of the first in Europe to have it. It was a long journey with our supplier, but at the end we reached to have this kind of plastic. The problem that we face is that not in all the country there is a chain of recycling of the plastic. So we wrote recyclable plastic, but in some countries they are not prepared to recycle the plastic. So we had to change the wording of this because was not by the law was not very correct, because our plastic was recyclable, but in the country there was no chain of recyclable plastic. So this was quite interesting for us. On the other side, as you ask, there is a circular economy. We invested some months ago in startups called Rice House that create buildings with the husk of the rice. That is the external part of the grain of the rice that has a lot of property. And so they create this building with our this say waste. It's not really a waste, but it's a part of the rice. So we are very proud of this because I think it's quite important. It's very nice and could be a very interesting trend to follow in the future.
I think actually the interesting trend to follow, and it's something that we're seeing, is how we can actually, I don't want to say waste, but how we can use food residue, let's say, for products that are in a completely different market. So how can we use the different elements, the different products, and the different residue that we have from food in order to create something which is completely different? And this is a trend that opens up also new economies, so new ways of incentivizing economies in different areas, which I think, this is my personal opinion, is really a space to watch in the coming years, because it's going to be something that we'll see grow, definitely. Congratulations on your recent investment. That's I would like to say.
We invested also another one that was Mogu that make interior design with the mycelium of the fungi.
Mushrooms.
Mushroom, okay. So they make design interior design and also some texture with this kind of and also the residual part of some industry, food industry.
Excellent. Thank you, Emanuele. I'm going to ask the final question, and I'm happy to have Jacobo Romagnoli from Val Group join us today. Like every transformation we talk about, we have to also obviously look at the technology. And one of the things when we're talking about sustainability is also the need for traceability and transparency, let's say in the supply chain, not just in food, but generally speaking, let's say across the market. I know that Val Group has a special, let's say, place in their heart for this kind of technology. How do you see it, Jacobo? And how do you see this growth in tracking and transparency?
Well, nice to be here with you, Noah, and with you all, of course, and thank you for the invitation. So before to jump on, the little part of my heart that you are speaking about, I just want to connect with the previous speeches, and I absolutely listened about carbon footprint and water consumption and energy in qualification and of course even in consumption, of course. And Yes, all those, topics meets with measurability again, okay, and on how to, let's say, to understand how to use less and to use better, resources, and how also to display your behavior with your customer, and with all the audience that a company can have. So we really started to think about it, and we thought that, for example, open data systems are a key, okay, and to remove silos between data. So really having data and using data in an open innovation mindset. So really with a lot of effort, we started to bring all these ideas into platform. So really, the platform is the final tool that can take all those topics and that can take a value from them. And so, speaking about value, as you were saying before at the beginning, there is something that helps in, let's say, in display value and to put in a chain, okay, the value. So we really are thinking, and we are developing a lot on blockchain systems. And thanks to that asset, that is not just a technology, is more a mindset, is a new way of thinking to what you do and how to do it. We had the first projects, and we are not anymore in POC stage. Now we are delivering really nice projects, and yes, thanks to that kind of technology, we really can display the transparency of a product. So if you are really good in doing something, you have to display it, okay, and you have to move to your customer as a glass, so really transparent. And it also moved not just technology. I mean, it changed also the mindset of some industry in the business model, for example, because thanks to blockchain, for example, the servitization is really easy to put on the table. So passing through just buying and throwing something to pay for use. Or we also are thinking and studying pay for satisfaction, okay? So it's possible to measure again data and behaviors, and to respond both in technology and in models changing. So it's a big habilitator for new mindset and new orbit. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Jacopo. And of course, we for many years, not for many years, but for a while, blockchain was always considered this thing. Nobody understood what it actually was. And there was a bit of a fear. But I think that when we talk about supply chains, it's becoming much, much more clear now that how efficient and how valuable this type of technology really is moving forward. We see it in the food systems, we see it in financial services, and this is something also that we're seeing is becoming, I don't want to say mainstream, but more understandable in a way as we move forward.
People is asking more and more, so it's a good news, and it's a layer. It's not because it's blockchain. Blockchain, it's a layer. And on top have IoT, AI, machine learning, precision farming. I mean, it's really the value chain of all the other technology.
Super. Okay, so thank you, Jacopo, and thank you to all of our speakers. And we did the first round talking to everybody, and I think there's a lot of different points that have come out that are I want to remind our viewers on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube that if you have any questions for our speakers, please feel free to write them down and we will address them. I'm going to ask all of our speakers to join me on this virtual stage so that we can start kind of like what we call the round table now that we're all together. And I'm going to actually start by asking Aldo to be a bit of provocative, because I like asking hard questions. We're talking a lot about what we're seeing going on and how things are changing. What's next? What is the future when we talk about corporates? What are we supposed to expect in the world of sustainability?
A provocative question require provocative answer is to make it business as usual, which to all the gentlemen and the ladies with us may seem something very challenging. Because so far, if we want to say in a really provocative way, most of the industry are still scratching the surface around the topic of sustainability. We see the bold innovators moving. We see a number of companies in selected industry that are embedding in the core, but the real challenge is to make it business as usual. And all the managers, all the investors, they know how many changes this evolution requires. But at the end, adopting a very, let's say, straightforward managerial techniques, which is planning, allocating capital, managing the complexity through all the amazing tools we have, we can make it happen.
Okay, so if we're throwing this, I'm going to throw it at Veronica, if I may, in order to say we've talked a lot about creating awareness inside the company. We are also in a way creating awareness outside. We keep on thinking that a lot of this change in sustainability is pulled by, let's say, or pushed more by customers. How do you see this kind of, let's say, need for creating measurable policies? Is it, let's say, as complicated as other transformations that we've seen in the market in recent years, or is it something that is much more, let's say, easier to swallow?
That's a lot of questions, no, actually, just this one. you tell me what to prioritize.
No, I'm actually very curious to understand. Seeing Lavazza Group is a very, very big group. Okay, it's not something that you switch on the light one day and you say, okay, let's do this. So that's kind of like what I'm trying to say, so that we can inspire the smaller companies and the bigger companies in the market to also do this.
Yeah, well, as you say, we are a big group, and it took time to arrive where we are now, and we're still at I would say at the beginning of our journey. So what I think it's really represented for us, the fuel was, first of all, in my opinion, to be a family company, a family-owned company. Lavazza is 100% owned by Lavazza family, and the commitment and the values that they bring on the management is really tangible and really present in our daily work. So having this family, we are not listed in the stock exchange. So there's really having a family, not being listed, is something, having a long-term vision, which is really part of the DNA of the company. So in my opinion, I would say that this is something which makes our work much easier, because having this guiding us is really something which enables us to do things. It took time, and it took steps and patience. In the last years, it has been growing quite a lot. When I arrived in Lavazza 6 years ago, there was no sustainability department. There was a very small office, and we were 2 persons. Now we are 12, and we have a department just focusing on sustainability. We are not, marketing. We are not communication. We are sustainability. That's it. And we have persons dealing with communities work, persons dealing with environmental work, persons dealing with communities in the coffee producing countries. And the and persons like me dealing with also measures and sustainability reports. So what I can say, what I can suggest to big companies and also to smaller companies is to really focus on professionalizing the sustainability work. This is really something which, in my opinion, should be done by people who deal with it and people who can really help the company to set the strategy and monitoring the we need to monitor the strategy, we sustainability professionals. We need to try to hold accountable the other departments, which is the bad part of our job, because I am the one, in Italian we say rompiscatole. I am the one who I am the borest person in the company.
You're the persistent one, we can say.
Yeah, euphemism. Yeah, of course, exactly. And it take patience, and what I urge everybody to do is, if it's not the case to accelerate, let's do things step by step with the company's, forces, because otherwise the greenwashing risk is there. If I saw a lot of smaller companies also in among our friends, partners, and clients who they want to accelerate. They don't have a history, which can be okay, but if you don't have a history of projects and commitments, you cannot, go for communication. First of all, let's communicate, and then we do something. No, I am from Rome, and I live in Turin. I don't know if there are people from Turin, Rome, etc. In Turin, people are generally more shy. People are very shy, let's say, and they don't say what they do. They do a lot of things and they don't say it. In Rome, is the other way around. So it took 6 years for me to adapt to this model of, we need to do things. And then when we are sure that it's effective, we communicate. This has been Lavazza attitude for 1 century. And I think that now it's paying, because now when we communicate, and we communicate, very, what I can say that, in a very attentive way, we communicate things which are true and which are happening. So let's be aware that greenwashing is a very big risk, and then reputation is gone, and then clients are gone, and then business is gone. So
no, I agree. I also think that we have to, generally speaking, but especially when we talk about sustainability, it's not a marketing stint. Okay, it's not something that we do in order to get a good PR. It has to be actually something that is real, because also people are checking now if it's real or not real. And this is something I see Michele is nodding his head, so I see that. But there's a question here from the audience. There's 2 questions actually that I'd kind of like to address, and maybe I'm going to ask Matteo if you can maybe give me a bit of a light, but then of course if anybody else would like to add. There's a question about, we don't have anybody here from the automotive industry, so I'm going to put that aside, but there's a question about recycling electric car batteries. Okay, so we can talk about that also, let's say in appliances also, how do we recycle this? But also when we talk about appliances, or when we talk about batteries, and we talk about, let's say, the harder parts of the industry, how do we see this also, let's say, in the optics of circular economy?
Yeah, let me. It's a very good question, and it's also very, very challenging. I think for as far as Electrolux is concerned, I think we are acting on 2 ways. So first of all, I think reconditioning, when you see in phones or in other industries, is a topic, but still there is not a regulation about that. So what we are doing at the moment is educate consumers to use the appliances to live longer, in a way. So use lower temperature cycles, wash less to make clothes last for longer. And we are on air now with a campaign that is called Make It Last. And of course, it's a category campaign, but as a leader in sustainability, we have the duty to communicate that. And that's an important part. The other part is really to track the consumer journey and to understand what are the pain points in usage, and means having more articles in Help Yourself for consumers in the onboarding phase to use better the appliance. Have a great post-purchase journey. So be there when the consumer needs you, both with our channels like website, social, but also with our assistant service, with our CAT. I don't have the English word, but with our network. And so educating and also educating on the right spare part. You know, we also considered the appliance, and we have, of course, this conception of appliance, but sometimes it's also a matter of advising on using the right spare part that can make a difference then in the longer journey of the appliance. And then
Excellent.
using the right feature. For example, you know, when we talk about dishwash, we have a very simple feature, which is Quick Select. It can help you, it guides you through a simple interface on the Eco easiest program. So
super, thanks, Matteo. Thanks. I want to, talking about again this kind of like social role, I want to ask a question to Michele, because you said it, you started talking a bit about excuse me, the social responsibility. I know that Muti is very connected also to creating this kind of social change when we talk about sustainability. So it's not just about the environment, it's also about the people in this environment. Can you shed a bit of light on this as well?
Yes, for example, in particular, we have the Pomodorino Dora award. Now that is the award that we give to our best farmers that give us the best tomato per year. No, and this is for sure an award that we have since 2000, so are 20 years that we have this award. So it's not something new for us, but the idea is to focus more and more on this social aspect. And for example, at the moment we are working on a project very related to our territories and our business. Because we start from what is close to us to go far. No? This is our approach. So we have a strong commitment with all our value chain. We are working on a project that aims to fight the illegal hiring of workers. How we will lead and sponsor the training of a qualified workforce that we will employ in our supply chain as well as in our factories during the tomato processing period, so from July to September. And this is a project that for us is very important because we have also other kinds of way in which we try to fight this kind of problem, but is something that one company alone can't be. We need to help. We need to help to reach the help of other companies and also institutions. Because it's a problem that can really change the sector and the perception of the sector. Because when you say tomato, you say the problem, this kind of problem. For this is what I can share at the moment.
No, perfect. So thanks, Michele. I'm gonna. There's a back. No, okay. I'm gonna take from your last sentence and throw the ball to Emanuele. By saying partnerships, okay? So there's a question also about how do we actually collaborate with also competitors, let's say, in order to promote these kind of things? Should we? How do we create these, I know that Emanuele, you have also a very wide view into startups and innovations that are happening in the food sector. How do we create this collaboration? Because this is obviously what we need in order to be able to promote these kind of issues.
Well, it's not so easy because with a competitor, obviously, is a fight every day. So it's to try to find a common view on these matters, and one way could be usually to promote it through the association of the category. So to make pressure on them so they can find a way to cooperate with all the person that are involved in this concept, in this area, in this market. So in this way, it's something that is in theory independent that make this path for all the sector. So it's probably the best way is to create with the association to in this consent to talk with everybody and find a solution that can help in this.
Okay, thank you. For the last kind of comment, I'm going to ask Jacobo. I know you are a true believer in ecosystems and how things are moving. How do you see this future of ecosystems?
No, I agree with Emanuele, and of course, competitors is not easy to speak with, or at least to involve them in some path or some projects. But we are doing it. We are trying to do it as much as possible, and I think that we even in blockchain, you have to put all the chain on the same on the same path. Okay, so also in building new models, you have to deal with other society, other persons, and also to competitors. And in the end, in VAR Group, because almost we have a lot of competitors, and that we collaborate with, because potentially there are competitors everywhere for IT. Okay, but we are trying to have common projects and to work with other company to build something new. And I mean, when you put yourself in that path, everything is easy. And of course, other corporates that works with open innovation, and this is the key.
Thank you, Jacobo, for this final note of optimism. And I want to congratulate all the participants, because we've been exactly on time, which is amazing.
You're sustainable, you know?
Yeah.
It's perfectly timed. So again, I want to thank Veronica Rossi from Lavazza Group. Thank you for being with us. Aldo Pozzoli from Accenture. Thank you. Emanuele Preve from Risogallo. Matteo Frattino from Electrolux. Michele Laterza from Muti. And of course, Jacobo Romagnoli from VAR Group. Thank you for your very precious contribution and for being with us today. And just as a final personal note, I want to just also say that sustainability and impact have been always very close to my heart. And there's one of those subjects that I always look for ways to promote. But another subject which is very close to my heart is always diversity and women in tech. And I want to thank this full almost 100% female production from Talent Garden that helped me bring this very important event live today. And I'd like to thank Natalia, Cristina, Chiara Brica, and Greta, and of course our director Chiara Iacomucci. It's been a pleasure again working with you ladies, and hopefully we've been able to bring live and some ideas in some ways, and hope for a better planet health, and for a sustainable future moving forward. So thank you again, and thank you for joining us, and happy Earth Day to everybody. And I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you very much.